Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dom's Daily Sports. I'm your host, not Dom. I'm actually his older brother, Robert, and I'm going to be filling in for him tonight, talking about UFC, specifically the UFC 246 main card. I am super excited about this fight card. Now, I've heard from a lot of you out there that this card is boring, that Cowboy Conner is the only real fight on the card, and I starkly disagree. I actually am really excited to see who comes out of this fight the winner and all the fights. And specifically later in the card, I think have some of the most exciting fights, starting with Anthony Pettis versus Diego Ferreira. I'm actually really excited about this fight, specifically to see what happens at 155, going forward. The victory, for Pettis or for Ferreira is going to vault them into the top of the division. So we'll see what happens. Diego Ferreira, we all know him. He's on a 5-fight win streak. The guy's been on a tear. One of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the division, good judo, also a good boxer. He's been getting better with his striking, better at using his jab and setting people up. He's still working on it, though. One thing that I will say about him, he's not the most technical striker. He needs to be able to take this to the ground in order to work against Pettis, because we all know Anthony took Showtime Pettis, and if there's one thing we know about him, it's that he has a lot of techniques. This guy's got great striking, great kicks, and he's definitely extremely athletic and able to throw that head kick with such speed and ferocity. I really like the way he fights. One thing that we do know about him as well, though, is that he does seem to fade late sometimes. So I'm hoping, especially for him, that he comes out, really strong, really fast, and is able to put the pressure on Diego. Otherwise, if the fight wears on, it could spell trouble for Anthony Pettis. He also doesn't have the strongest takedown defense or the strongest ground game. We saw that in his recent fight against Nate Diaz. He wasn't able to control Nate on the ground the way Nate was able to control him, and that really spelled trouble for Anthony Pettis. Especially, you saw it in that fight. Whenever he would go down and Nate would be able to hold him there for 5 minutes or 3-4 minutes at a time, he would get so tired, and it really cost him as the fight wore on. You saw Pettis really fade. So he's going to need to put the pressure on. The keys to victory for me, I think for Pettis, like I was just saying, he's got to be able to start fast and keep the pressure on Diego. And he's got a bit of a reach disadvantage. And so that's going to be a big thing for him, is being able to use his techniques to keep Diego guessing and keep the pressure on him. For Diego, it's the exact opposite. He needs to be able to take Pettis down and keep him down. This is going to help him expel a lot of energy as Pettis tries to get back up over and over again. If they stand and trade, I believe Pettis will have the clear advantage. So it's going to be imperative for Diego to get this fight on the ground where he can really control Pettis and control the pace of the fight. But overall, this might be the fight I'm most excited about, guys. And this is the first fight on the card. So seriously, guys, tune in for a good one. This is going to be a great fight. Going into the next fight, though, we've got Claudia Gadelha versus Alexa Grasso. I'm actually pretty excited about this one, too, but mainly because I want to see what Claudia does here. We all know how accomplished Claudia is, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and her vicious takedowns and her vicious ground and pound. We know how hard she works down there, but can she go up against those premier strikers in the division? We saw that problem for her twice when she had to fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk and was not able to hang with her standing up. This is going to be a huge prove-it fight for her. If she can't beat Alexa, who is not nearly as accomplished in the UFC as she is, then she's going to be in a world of trouble. But we also know, for Alexa, this is a prove-it fight for her as well. She just came off a loss to Carla Esparza, so, we're going to see what she does here. But she's a good boxer. She needs to keep this fight standing up in order to stand a chance against Claudia. If not, and Claudia is able to take it to the ground, I don't think Alexa even gets back up. It's going to be tough. Because Claudia Gadelha is one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in that division. So we'll see what happens. But with Alexa's reach advantage and her slight height advantage and her ability to box, we'll see if she can keep it standing and catch Claudia early. That's really going to be the key to victory for Alexa. Catch Claudia early and keep the pressure on. Pounce, in my opinion. Going to the ground will only work against her, as Claudia is a savage on the ground. As the fight wears on, I believe that will also work against Alexa, so she needs to apply pressure early and often. And for Claudia, she needs to force her opponent to work at her pace. She'll be in great shape that way. All she has to do is get inside, clinch up with Alexa, and be able to take her to the ground. This is going to be pivotal for her success. With her ground game expertise, it's going to be a long fight for Alexa if she can get it to the ground. And she does have the stand-up game to trade with Alexa, so it just might not be in her best interest. But I think Claudia has the clear advantage. She's the obvious favorite, but we'll see how well Alexa is able to handle her pressure. Moving on to the third fight. This one I'm super excited about too because I love the heavyweight division right now. We've got rising star Maurice Greene coming off of his first loss on a win streak he was having, going up against Alexei Oleinik, who is one of the most accomplished submission experts in the division. We saw that on display in his fight against Mark Hunt when he was able to handle Mark Hunt all the way to the end. It wasn't even that long of a fight, and he submitted him. But his two losses to Overeem and Harris have him fighting at the bottom of the division again. So we'll see if he's able to pull out the win over Maurice Greene. But we all know about his background in Sambo and his ability to submit anybody from any position. Alexei Oleinik, one of the most accomplished fighters in the heavyweight division, over 50 wins, 80 total fight, or more than 80 total fights. He's an animal. Maurice Greene, however, is a pretty good striker standing up. We've seen that in his fights. Going back to before the UFC, he's got great kicks. He's very technical. He's athletic. He just doesn't have the strongest ground game or takedown defense, and that's going to really be a problem for him, especially with a guy like Oleinik, who is such a beast, on the ground. And he's also inexperienced, where Oleinik is one of the most accomplished fighters in the entire division. So this is really a contrast of two different fighters at two different stages of their careers. But Greene does have a slight height advantage, and that's going to serve him well if he can use his kicks to keep him at a disadvantage, or keep him at a reach disadvantage, I mean. But if Oleinik gets inside and gets him down even once, that could spell trouble because he's going to get tired really fast. We'll see if he's able to hang around with Oleinik. Key to victory for me, for Maurice Greene, he's got to catch him early and apply pressure and maintain distance, and he'll be in good shape. He needs to start fast, and he can't allow Oleinik to take him down. He cannot lose his stamina too early, otherwise that's going to spell serious trouble. I like Oleinik to win this fight as far as a favorite is concerned, but that's going to be the key to victory for Maurice Greene. For Oleinik, it's going to be to get early takedowns and keep the pressure on him when they're standing up, because if he lets Greene pick him apart, he lets Greene keep him at distance and use his kicks and use his jab to keep him back, Oleinik's going to be in trouble. He's not the greatest striker, we know that. But if he gets some early takedowns, gets the pressure on him, tires him out, that's going to serve him super well, because I think he's definitely got the advantage in that scenario. And like I said before, I like Oleinik as the favorite to win this fight, although this is going to be a really good fight either way, because Greene's got a lot to prove. He's only 8-3. He's really young, and he's only had a few fights in the UFC. So we'll see what happens with him. Now we get into the juicy fights. We've got Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington 2. This is the rematch. Holly Holm was able to take the first one in a pretty good fashion, although it was close. I did like her performance against Megan Anderson. She was able to pull that one out, although losing to Nunes is going to, force her to have to prove herself again here against Pennington. Pennington also coming off of some tough losses to two of the top fighters in the division, losing to Germaine de Randamie and Amanda Nunes. But we'll see what she's able to do here against Holly Holm. Strengths for Holly Holm, we know that she is an expert striker. She likes to keep people at distance. She's tall. She uses her kicks. And she's got a vicious head kick. We saw that against Ronda Rousey. Y'all remember that? I remember that one too. Ooh, that was brutal. But if she's able to, control the pace and keep her at distance and pick Raquel apart with her kicks and with her jab and, use her striking to her advantage, she really has a good chance. Although we all know about Raquel's ability to box. We know that Raquel Pennington is a tough SOB, so to speak. She is a beast. She did just handle Irene Aldana, in my opinion. I watched that fight, and it was fantastic performance by her. She's got good takedowns, a good submission offense, and so if she goes to the ground, she could stand to be an advantage against Holly Holm. She's got 3 submission wins in the UFC, so we'll see what happens with that. But her cardio and her reach are going to be a disadvantage for her. Again, Holly Holm has that crazy conditioning as well as her, crazy kicking and range fighting ability, so we'll see what happens with that. Key to victory for Holly Holm, stay at range. She needs to work her kicks. She needs to be in a better spot. If she stays at range, she's going to be in a better spot. And she needs to keep the fight on the feet. If she goes to the ground, I think Raquel will have the clear advantage. For Raquel, she needs to apply the pressure and get inside on Holly. If not, she's going to be eating kicks. She needs to be able to take her down and apply pressure, wear her out. That's going to be huge Key to victory for Raquel Pennington is, can she apply the pressure and get inside on Holly? If not, she's going to be eating kicks all night long. She needs to be able to take her down and apply the pressure and wear her out. If she can do that, she'll be in much better shape. Otherwise, we know about Holly's expert versatile striking. Finally, the main event, guys, that we've got Conor and Cowboy. This is the one that everybody's been excited about. I'm excited about it. To me, I know Conor has the clear advantage, but we all know about Cowboy's jiu-jitsu, and so this is an excellent matchup, and Cowboy's got that excellent, kickboxing ability. He's a versatile striker too, so he's no slouch, guys. But looking at Cowboy's previous fights against Justin Gaethje and against Tony Ferguson, he got handled, guys. Gaethje, it wasn't even close. He got knocked out. And, I watched that fight. I was extremely disappointed, but I do hope and I think that Cowboy is going to bounce back here against Conor. We know he's a slow starter, but he needs to keep the pressure on him. He can't get caught trading. If he does, we know that Conor's left hand is vicious. And if he catches Cowboy once with that left hook, it could be all over for Cowboy. The key to victory for Cowboy is going to be to take him down early and often. He's got to drain him and get into the later rounds where he'll have a better advantage, just like Khabib did against Conor. Taking him down early, keeping that pressure on him, not letting him stand up and trade with you, because Conor can catch you at any time. Ask Jose Aldo about that. Looking at Conor McGregor, though, man, are we excited to have him back or what, guys? I can't tell you how excited I am. We all know about his excellent striking. He's got a nasty left hand. He's a fast starter out of the gate in every fight. He likes to come at you with pressure. He likes to mix it up with different kinds of strikes. He throws everything he can at you. Now, will he be able to last into the later rounds? That's always been a question with him. I've heard reports on like YouTube and TMZ are reporting that he is in the best shape of his career. So we'll see if he's able to hang with Cowboy into those later rounds, like I was saying. Also, his wrestling and his submission defense haven't always been what they need to be. Although we did see in that fight with Khabib that Conor does have some better wrestling. He's getting better with that. His takedown defense is better. But is he able to handle a guy like Cowboy, who is, as we know, an expert in that field? Key to victory for Conor, can he starch Cowboy? That's the real question. He needs to take him out in the first or second round. I think he'll be in great shape that way. But if it lasts into the later rounds, I still think that Conor has the clear advantage, mainly because of his striking ability and his array of techniques. But guys, thank you so much again for tuning in. UFC 246 is sure to be really exciting. I'm excited about every single fight, top to bottom. I hope you all are too, especially now that you've heard some more info on them. Thank you again for tuning in. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and have a wonderful night.